Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. So in today's video we are going to be taking a look at the secrets, fears and ghosts for those of you who have Neptune in your 8th house, but also for those of you who have Pisces ruling your 8th house within your natal birth chart. But before we do get into this, make sure that you give this video a like if you like it. Also make sure to subscribe if you have not subscribed already, and to click that little bell icon in order to keep yourself updated with further content from myself. And one more quick thing to mention, if you would like to know more information all about your Neptune sign, your Neptune house, along with your Pisces house and your 12th house within your natal birth chart, then I have created a Pisces season/archetype ebook. So what I am going to do is I'm going to provide a link to that ebook in the description box below so that you can pick up your copy today if you would like. Okay, so with all those introductions out of the way, Neptune in the 8th house and Pisces ruling the 8th house individuals, let's do this. Okay, so if you have Neptune in your 8th house or Pisces ruling your 8th house, then what this suggests is that you're someone who possesses a deep and profound intrigue into the taboo, into that which is mysterious and locked away from clear view. However, this might not be something that is very comfortable for you. You might not enjoy this process, you might not be particularly proud of it, because when you dive into these darker and more murky parts of the unknown, or into even the hidden parts of your own psyche, you might be presented with some rather terrifying and horrific discoveries. For example, as a child, maybe you were exposed to sexual violence, or maybe you were exposed to some sort of crime that traumatized you, or maybe you saw something on the television that you weren't supposed to see. Could also potentially be that you saw a ghost or some sort of spirit whenever you were younger. Perhaps even you were forced, another possibility here, you were forced to keep secrets for others who performed shady and even somewhat sinister and evil acts. Though another possibility is that maybe you find yourself often getting lost in an imaginary world of extremely dark sexual fantasies. Whatever you were exposed to though, or whatever you discovered, it's these types of experiences and events that might have resulted in you disassociating perhaps, or disconnecting from your physical body. And perhaps through this process you formed this bubble around you as a way to keep yourself protected, fiercely so, from the monsters and the demons, so to speak. But yet, I also think that there's a part of you that seeks to investigate and get to the bottom of these past traumatic events and experiences. Though, of course, another possibility may be that a certain death scared you as a child, traumatized you as a child. Perhaps you lost a dear friend to drugs or alcohol, or maybe you watched as a loved one suffered from mental illness, or quite possibly you were exposed to suicide or some sort of death experience even. Perhaps this could have been a situation where someone you knew and loved dearly, they died and then they came back to life to tell the tale. Maybe this individual shared what they saw with you, resulting in your life being completely transformed. Then again, perhaps this individual was you. Though another possibility might be that you've been controlled using spirituality before. Perhaps you grew up in an environment that consisted of guiding you with false pretenses and made up information. So essentially using God or a higher power as a way to dominate and control your life. Or perhaps another possibility could be that you were forced to hide your sexuality or your sexual preferences. Maybe it was hard for you to have an open discussion with a parent or a loved one about sex or sexual discovery. Maybe due to how much you felt like you had to go along with the spiritual guru, parent or loved one who believed that they knew all. And so in this respect, you had to obey and keep a very tight lid on your many overwhelming emotions. And if this was the case, Neptune in the 8th house, Pisces ruling the 8th house, then maybe for you, you often feel confused or disillusioned by sexuality or by your sexual desires. And so as you enter into a sexually dynamic and intimate union or relationship with somebody else, perhaps you're presented with uncomfortable and uneasy feelings. For example, maybe you end up in an extremely toxic, violent and controlling intimate relationship with someone else. Or maybe you get with a female, so you get together with a female, but actually deep down you know that you're not attracted to females. Of course, this can be vice versa. Or maybe you enter into an intimate relationship that is simply off limits and should under no circumstances be acceptable. Then again, it could very well be that you yourself were exposed to such actions growing up or throughout your life. On the other hand, perhaps it's these sexual and intimate relationships that come with so many inner fears and desires. The type of inner fears and desires that are kind of scary beyond belief. Perhaps a partner shares a piece of private information with you that leaves you in a really difficult situation. This could be a confession, for example, or perhaps you've been in situations where your partner is continuously lying to you and keeping secrets from you. And deep down, you know you should say something or confront them, but yet you never do. Suggesting that you might unknowingly enable the toxic behaviors within your intimate relationships. And if you were to really strip this back, so let's take it back to your upbringing. Is it possible here, Neptune in the 8th house, Pisces ruling the 8th house individuals, that you enabled behaviors from those that you grew up with? Is it that you're this hidden and secretive enabler, an undercover passive individual, someone who says nothing only to end up worse off than you were before? So you kind of go along with sexual partners, giving them chance after chance, excuse after excuse, only to continue feeling disappointment. However, that's not to say that you're never getting anything out of the experience, of course, because, well, it could very well be suggested that you seek to transcend yourself within your intimate and sexual relationships. It's kind of like a drug to you, this addiction. And so you simply cannot get enough of that high that comes with the climax, or you can't get enough of the sweet, sweet affection that you yearn for afterwards. And so in this respect, perhaps you just seek to feel close and protected by another person who will never ever leave you. Quite literally, this could be a scenario of till death do us part. Heck, it might even require a death for you to finally wake up and get it. Though naturally, this doesn't have to be a literal physical death, but this could be the death of a dream, perhaps, suggesting that when the dream dies or ends, that's when you're ready to let go and move on. However, you might hold on so tightly to the dream due to how persistent and stubborn you can be towards making it come true. So following on from this point, maybe you have a certain dream as to how you wish to die one day. Of course, the 8th house rules over death. It's associated with death within astrology, but it's the type of death that remains in the psyche of others long after you pass. Maybe you even possess deep inner fears of dying, or it could even be suggested that you believe that when you do die, you'll be reunited with the spirits and the guides that you believe surround you whilst you are on Earth. It could even be suggested that you don't even feel like you are a part of this Earth. Perhaps you often feel like you're destined for something so much greater that isn't even a part of here, a part of this reality. And so when you pass onto the other side, perhaps you think that that's when it's all going to click in place and finally make sense. Perhaps you even believe that you've entered into other dimensions before or between different worlds. And when you go to sleep at night, or even when you meditate, you feel yourself piercing the veil. Then again, perhaps you've experienced some pretty terrifying nightmares before, or sleep paralysis even. Perhaps you've even had a vision or a dream before of a certain sexual or intimate partner just entering into your life, and then that ends up coming true. Someone does come into your life physically. So you might convince yourself that that individual is your soulmate or is your twin flame. Then again, this can be you simply having premonitions. So you have these intuitive pings about these people entering into your life. And even if that person hurts you or victimizes you, you may say something like, oh well, I guess this is my karma, or oh well, I guess it wasn't meant to be. But essentially, I think that a lot of this, it lies in your own pain and suffering. Because I think that you might try to sort of unconsciously seek these deeper and more meaningful spiritual connections within others because you believe that they will heal you or maybe even rescue you from your potential trauma or help you or save you from those past experiences that you disconnected from, you disassociated from. And so in this respect, maybe you enter into a relationship dynamic that comprises of trauma bonding. Now apparently trauma bonding occurs due to the cyclical nature of abuse and the emotional roller coaster that the victim goes through due to abuse. So it kind of goes from reward to punishment in that cycle. So back to reward, back. It's like in a drug. You sort of get addicted to that feeling of the highs that come from the really deep lows. And it could even be suggested that with your emotions even, it can fluctuate like that. It can be very hot and cold, quite extreme. But yet it's this vicious cycle that can be really hard for you to change, perhaps due to the intensity of it all and due to the somewhat addictive emotions associated with all of it. So I think in this respect, it may be a good idea for you to learn how to regulate your emotions a lot better, because I have a feeling that you can often feel exhausted or drained by how much you try to unconsciously hide your emotions, lock them away. Heck, you might even merge with other people's painful emotional experiences as a way to avoid looking at your own. So following on from this point, on a more positive note, we want to bring a positive spin. I think that you can act like this vessel for other people's pain and suffering. And whilst yes, this can cause implications as I have stated, on the other hand, I also think that you can make a great healer. You can be someone who helps victims, for example, or someone who has a deep interest in psychology, understanding the human mind. Perhaps you can even act as a medium or as a psychic, or you can provide great spiritual insights. And it's these spiritual insights that can be used as a way to help aid others. Perhaps you even possess a special gift at transforming others by helping them tap into their spiritual essence. And you also may be a highly intuitive individual, someone who as well can empathize with other people's darkness, other people's really harder to reach emotions. And when it comes to this house being associated with the transformation, well, perhaps some things that can help you transform would be through the likes of tapping into your imagination, getting in tune with your spiritual essence. It can also be through the likes of art, film, poetry, reading, journaling, yoga, meditation. And like I said, anything that can get you tapping into your imaginary world, but also into your emotional world. Though another thing I want to mention is that the 8th house also pertains to taxes and debts, inheritances and wills, and shared resources. And well, it could very well be suggested that you sort of don't see very clearly when it comes to these things. For example, you might give over full control to your spouse rather than you personally getting involved. Or you might merge your resources together with a spouse and then struggle if or when disagreements arise. You might also act in a passive manner towards your taxes and your debts, resulting in potential run-ins with the law or maybe even big fines. Now, it could also be suggested that you experience confusing misunderstandings with family members over money left in your parents' will. Perhaps there are secretive distributions of money and items, or perhaps you're greatly disappointed with the amount or the outcome. Then again, maybe the thing that you inherit from your parents after their death is something untouchable, such as a family secret, a confession, a piece of information that puts things into a whole new perspective. Or maybe you discover something that completely transforms your spiritual beliefs. But you know what? With the same token, perhaps it's you, Neptune in the 8th house, Pisces ruling the 8th house, who leaves your legacy in a mysterious or elusive way. Maybe your death, for example, is kind of confusing to others. Or maybe there's the likes of drugs, addiction, secrets, sneakiness, bribery, extortion. All these things are all a part of it. Then again, maybe you leave this earth known for all the good deeds you did to help others, known for your compassion, your empathy, your love, your devotion towards others, for your art, for your creativity, for your spirituality, all these different things. Perhaps you will be remembered for these. Okay then, Cosmic Warriors, so that concludes my video on the secrets, fears and ghosts for those of you who have Neptune in your 8th house, and also for those of you who have Pisces ruling your 8th house within your natal birth chart. Now, if you do happen to have any of these placements, let us know what you thought of the video in the comment section down below. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching, thank you for subscribing, and if you would like to see more videos from myself and you have not yet subscribed, then go right ahead and click that subscribe button, and also make sure that you give this video a like. And I will be back with another video very, very soon. Bye!